Welcome back to another video, guys. So today we're going to be doing a Valorant Agents tier list with Reyna. So first off we have Breach. Now Breach is a very strong team character with many good abilities, including a flash that goes through walls, an earth shatter which basically hits just a whole area in front of him. He also has a ability that goes through walls that can damage enemies and stun them, which is a very good ability. And he also has his ultimate, which flashes and stuns. So it's a very strong overall character, so we're going to put him in A. As far as Brimstone goes, he is okay. His abilities are strong. He has 3 smokes, which he can put anywhere within the range he can see on his mini-map, which is good. He also has a Molotov that can bounce off walls and go around corners and stuff, much like Phoenix's. But other than that, he's just an okay character, so we're going to put him in C tier. Next up is Cypher. So Cypher is a B tier character, for sure. He has tripwires, which make it easy to see enemies when they walk into them, and it can also stun if they don't shoot it in time, which can be very good if you're hiding around corners and stuff. His smokes are good, however they're somewhat difficult to activate since you have to activate them when you're standing right up close, so it's kind of a trade-off. His smoke's also slow, though. He also has a camera which he can shoot against walls, which is very good for peeking around corners if you don't want to get hit. However, his offensive capabilities are kind of limited because of his abilities, which are mainly defensive, so he's going to be a B tier. Okay, Jett is an entirely skill-based character that basically depends on the player. So her dash, she has a forward dash and an upward dash, and then smokes. So she's almost entirely a solo-based character, aside from her smokes, which are good. However, they are some of the shortest in the game. They recently got buffed, however, to 7 seconds from their previous 4, making it a lot more usable. However, unless you're good with the character, she's not great. So C tier. Okay, Omen. Omen is good, but again, you kind of have to know how to use him and when to use him, like where to use his abilities. So he's got a teleport, which basically he can only teleport a limited distance. However, it's pretty strong for getting into positions, but it makes a lot of noise. So the best option is to smoke and then smoke again. Speaking of his smokes, you can smoke through walls to place smokes anywhere on the map. However, they do fall, so they won't stay in the air. And then his other ability, Paranoia, recently got buffed. However, it's still only okay, seeing as Reyna basically has the same ability, but it can hit anywhere anyone looks at it. So overall, he's going to be a D tier. Next up is Phoenix. Phoenix is very strong as a solo character. However, his abilities can damage teammates and harm them. His flash is very good for going around corners. His firewall is good for rushing and planting, and is just an all-around good thing, especially as it can heal him as well. And then he's basically got a Molotov like Brimstone, however he just kind of throws it out of his hand. He also heals in that. So overall, he's a very strong character, definitely A tier, but not S tier since he doesn't heal in all fire and he can damage teammates. Next up is Raze. Raze is a very strong solo character, however is almost at times harmful for the team since her abilities can damage teammates. Her abilities are very strong for the most part. She has satchels, which she throws on the ground, boosts off of them, and can jump or can damage enemies with them. She had her other abilities are like a little robot which rolls on the ground, and when it targets it will lock on to an enemy and it will just follow them until it explodes or someone shoots it. And then her other ability is a grenade which she throws, it explodes, and then it splits into 4 other grenades which bounce around on the ground and does massive damage. However, she can damage teammates with all of these, and her ultimate is very easy to miss at times if you're not hitting it directly against a wall or another person. So for that, she's going to be B tier. Okay, next up is the new character, Reyna. Reyna is very strong solo play. Her ability Leer lets her throw a eye, which basically gives enemy players that look at it Omen's insomnia effect, So it basically just makes it so they can't see within a certain range and they can't hear anything either. So it's pretty strong. However, it can be shot out of the sky or wherever you throw it, and the effect will just stop. However, her abilities heal, and her other one, which makes her invincible for a limited period of time, are very strong, but you have to be getting kills in order to do it. So again, solo play, very strong, team play, mediocre, but as far as survivability goes, she's one of the best, so definitely A tier. Alright, Sages are only S tier on the list. She is still definitely going to be an S tier for a while. Her heal ability is very good. It can heal teammates as long as they're near, and it's got a cooldown on it as opposed to Reyna's, which is just ticks. So she can heal anyone within 45 seconds, and it's basically all the way to 100 health. Her wall is very good. It can take a ton of damage, and it can basically just block off places, and people will just kind of avoid that spot. It can also lift people up to higher vantage points, which is a huge advantage in battle. And her slow orb is mediocre for most spots. However, it's good if you are using it in certain situations to either hear enemies when they're coming, because it makes noise when they step on it, even if they're shift walking or crouch walking. So it's very strong for that. And her ultimate is a revive, which is very good for the team. If your best player dies due to being sniped or whatever, you can res them and have another player back on your team. Next up is Sova, a very good player for obtaining information and recon. His ability Scan Arrow lets him scan out an area, just reveals everyone that gets hit by it. However, it's really easy to avoid, just hiding behind a wall or a wooden crate or whatever. His next ability, Shock Arrows, which are good. He has 2 at a time, and they also bounce off walls and stuff. They can do damage to enemies, and the damage outcome is okay. He also has an ability which is a drone that just flies out. You can see enemies with it, but if it doesn't have a super long air time, and it costs 300, which is kind of expensive. But other than that, he's a very strong character, and his ultimate lets him shoot a very long beam-like thing. It goes through walls, and when it hits an enemy, it does about 70 to 80 damage, I think. And when it hits them, it reveals their location, so everyone on the team can see them. And it can also hit multiple targets at a time. So definitely a strong character, not A tier, but probably B tier. And last up is Viper. Viper is very strong defensive play, just like Cypher. Meaning her attacking is limited. However, she's got one of the strongest smokes in the game, allowing her to throw it. It can release smoke, and then she can pick it back up to use elsewhere, which is very good. She also has a wall similar to Phoenix's, however hers is longer but can't be curved. She also has... her ultimate is actually very strong. It releases a toxic area that does damage to enemies, and I guess friends for that matter, weakening them when they're in it. Whenever she's ulting, she can also see red outlines of people who are in there, but they can't see her. Well, I mean, they can, but there's no outline around her. So, very strong, however, easy to hurt teammates. Oh, she also throws toxic puddles on the ground that damage over time, just like Molotovs do. Not much different. But yeah, so probably a B tier. Just because she's just mediocre in my opinion, but if you know how to use her, she can be very good. So that's all for the video. Thank you for watching, and that's my opinion on all the characters in Valorant.